Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome. We are gathered here once again for another blissful time of training. We've been having a lot of awesome and I really want you to sit tight because a lot is going to come out of this training today. A whole lot. So you're going to do me a favor right now. If you're just joining this meeting for the first time, you're not subscribed to this channel, hit that red subscribe button right now so that next time when we are going live, you'll be the first to get notification and you'll be notified when we are going live. Let's go viral. Share it on your WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, everywhere. Just
Wow. You're welcome to Raw Vision Snail Farm. And at Raw Vision Snail Farm, we're actually practicing two kinds of farming. We're practicing the soilless and the soil. That is the earth and the earthless farming. Now I'm going to be taking you straight into our soilless part of the farm where I'll show you how we run that as well. And then thereafter, we'll take you to the earth part of the pen. So let's go in. This is our soilless part of the farm. I'll be showing you what we do here. You must also consider ventilation when you are doing your farm. And so we have openings for air to go in and out. Openings everywhere. And so let me show you the farm itself. So let's roll. All right. You're welcome to the soilless part of the Raw Vision Snail Farm. I'm going to be showing you what we actually do here at the soilless part of the farm. Here we are not practicing the pen with earth, with sand inside of it. I'm going to show you, I'm going to take my time to walk you through the process one after the other so you understand. And then when you have the opportunity of running both farm, you know what to do. Or if you actually want to start, you define which of them you want to run with. I'll talk about the disadvantages and the advantages of the earth and the non-earth. All right. And so we have different pens here. All stock. Like I said, every pen here are all soilless. Soilless because the floor is floated. Soilless because the floor is tight. Soilless because the floor is cemented. That is why it is called soilless. Now when we say soilless, it means there is no sand. Soil, sand. There is no sand, sandless. Alright? So now let me show you how it is inside per se. In this very pen, we have snails here, we have plantain leaves, we have almond leaves. All right, these are plantain leaves, and these are our almond leaves. Almond leaves, some persons do call them fruit tree, and locally some persons call them ebelebo. So these are the almond leaves, and these are our plantain leaf. Now the essence of the almond leaf here and the plantain leaf back to back is that the almond leaf, when it decays, it tends to look more like soil. When it starts decaying, it looks very smooth on the base, and so we use that as the base so that they don't have direct contact with the floor. The almond leaf becomes the base, while the plantain leaf becomes their shading. So both of them are what we use for our mulching, for the beddings in the farm. Now talking about taking care of your soilless farm, there are different ways of handling this part of the farm. In the soilless, you don't pour water just like you pour on the earth. On the earth farm, you pour in enough water because with time it's going to drain off. But in the soilless, it's not like that. In the soilless, limited amount of water is what you need to work it out, to perfect it. Now, if you pour in excess water, the first disadvantage of that is that your snails will get contaminated. Because once the water is stuck, it's not flowing anywhere, it gathers bacteria, and these bacteria will fight your snails and kill your snails. So you don't allow water in the pen. All right. Now you need to also put drinking trays. Like we know in snail farming, please show them the drinking tray. It has to be something very flat, and so that your snail. All right. Let me put a snail to show you. Now your snail can stay inside and don't get drowned. You don't have to put them in a bowl so that the snail don't sink itself inside the water. With a shallow water like this, the snake can just creep in, drink this water, and then go into their hidings. Whenever they need water, they come here and take in water. But you must also water the leaves so that in their own hiding, they can get access to coolness. Now, putting water in your snail farm, you must also introduce weight in the tray. If you just put the water in your flat tray, snails are very funny animals. They can choose to want to go under the tray, and as they are doing that, they'll pour away the water. And because it's soilless, the water remains in the pen. It might just end up giving you excess water in your snail farm. So you don't have to just put the water without a load on it. So as you can see, we added a block. It is the load that actually protects the water from turning over. Snails naturally are animals that want to always hide under where it's cool. So if there is no load, enough load, now the amount of load does not really matter. What matters is what you are having is enough to hold the water in a spot. Because the truth is, your snails will always want to go under the tray. The reason being that the tray is even under the tray is cooler, and that is where snails like. And so your load helps to keep your water for a longer period. At least every snail in the pen can actually drink of the water. Now, the water we give to our snail, please note, don't give treated water to your snails. Avoid giving your snails water that have been treated with iodine and all that. You don't give your snails treated water. Now, if where you have access to water, if the water is always treated, this is what you do. Fetch the water into a bucket. Put the bucket under the sun for at least 24 hours. Let the sun heat the water. When the sun heats the water, it becomes natural again for your snails to consume. If you use treated water for your snails, the disadvantage is they are going to die. And the truth is, you cannot do without water, which means you must pour water into the pen. If you're wetting them, they will get contaminated with the water. If you're putting it in the tray for them to drink, you also give them a contaminated water. So avoid giving them treated water. If you must use the water that is treated, put it under the sun for at least 24 hours before you use it. And then if you are using, if you are using the borehole, that's where you get the treated water. But if you're not using the borehole, you can just fetch from the well. If you have a well, you can fetch from anywhere to give to your snails. It's very okay. Sometimes I will tell some persons it's better to fetch from the natural well than from the tank, because the natural water passes through filtration, so it comes out very pure and okay for your snails to consume. Now, talking about watering the pen, watering your snail pen, you need to also consider the amount of water you are putting in and how you are also doing. The how, the amount, and the frequency, that is the number of times you do this weekly. It's not like the earth pen where you can water it twice a day, every morning, every afternoon, every morning, every afternoon, every morning, every evening, every morning, every evening. All right. In this pen, if you are using the soilers, most times I tend to put my water in can so that I can actually measure the amount of water I am putting in each of the pen. You don't have to put a whole bottle of water in this pen. Now, if you look at the pens, in this pen is smaller than this pen. This means that the amount of water I'm going to be putting in this pen should not be equal with the amount of water I'm going to be putting on the other pen. The reason being that the bigger the pen, the more water you should also put. Because definitely, as the pen are also big, the numbers of snails in them are also differs. Like I said, we don't have dimensions in pen. So you build your pen according to the space that you have. Now let's go back to the watering of your snail pen, your soilless pen. Now, using a container of such with a tiny hole, you just sprinkle the water on the leaves. As you can see, I'm just sprinkling the water on the leaf. I'm going to empty what I have here in this pen. As we are doing this, you can see this snail is already moving as the water is touching them. You pour the water around the leaves only. We do this twice weekly here. In our farm, we practice wetting of the pen twice weekly. We don't wet the pen every day. Now, with this amount of water that I put in this pen, it can serve them 3 days, 2 days. And then we'll come again and then also wet. Now, because you are using a soilless and you're adding little amount of water, your train should not run dry of water. Your train should always have water in it. You can increase the number of train for your water. You can make it 3, you can make it 4, depending on the numbers of snails in the particular pen. And so, wetting this is with this, that's what. And then, if you are not using this, maybe you want to be pouring the water with hand. You know, some persons do use their hand to sprinkle. Now, what you do is you just sprinkle around the areas the leaves are settled. The areas where you have leaves, that's where you just wet. Now, don't just pour the water. If you are pouring the water, it gets concentrated at a particular place. So as you are sprinkling it, it helps to reach every corner of the pen. And now let's talk about some advantages, disadvantages, the routine when it comes to the soilless farming. Now, both of them has their benefits. I mean, the soilless and the earth, both of them has their own benefits. Both of them also have their own difficulties. All right. Now, sorting eggs from your soilless is easy. Now, when I say easy, I mean there's no way you lose eggs. There's this tendency that you will see every egg that is laid in the pen, because the base is there. As you're moving up the plantain leaves or your almond leaves, as you're moving all the beddings that you have in the pen, your mulching materials, you have access to every egg that you see in the pen. But if you are using the soil, you have to sometimes dig the earth, because some of the snails will lay their egg inside the earth and then cover it up. But in the soilless, it's not like that. So you have access to pick every of the egg in your soilers. That's one. And then you also have disadvantages too. Now some of these eggs can also get broken. You know, snails are not humans, they don't think. Sometimes they might choose to climb when laying their eggs. When they climb and lay the eggs, some of the eggs might fall. In the process of falling into the pen, because it's not sandy, and maybe just because the plantain leaf which you have in the pen, or the banana leaf, or whatever mulching materials you have in the pen, is not in the right position, the egg can actually hit the floor and it breaks. That becomes a loss on your side. But in the soil, it's not like that. It falls on the sand and it's still very okay for incubation. So that's another disadvantage of the soil. And then if you have excess of water in the pen, it's a very massive disaster. It's a big one because it actually affects your farm a lot. First of all, it will start bringing in flies, toilet flies. Once the water is stuck, that is to say you have too much water in the pen, when that water is stuck, toilet flies tend to come in, and as they are coming in, they are laying their eggs and they are growing larvae in your pen, and these things will start killing your snails one after the other. All right, so it is not okay to flood your soilers with water. And then also talking about maintenance. Sometimes some persons will tell you clean your soilless pen once a month, twice a month, once a week, once in 3 months, once in 1 year. Now, I really don't give students date and timing. The reason is because the amount of water Mr. A will be putting in his pen and the amount of water Mr. B will be putting in their pen can never be the same. So telling every person you can start replacing or cleaning your pen after 1 month or after 1 week might not really work for every person completely. Now, take for instance, if somebody is pouring in a can of water every day in this very pen, every day into this very pen, and another is pouring 2 of these into this same pen, at the end of every week, they will have different amount of water in the pen. They will have different amount of time in which the leaves get decay. Because as you are adding water, the leaves will be decaying gradually. So when you notice that your mulching materials, the leaves inside your pen, are already decaying and they are looking so soft, like it's not like a mud, then you can pack them all out of the pen. That is where the cleaning part comes in. You pack them from the pen and replace with a new one. Now when you pack them out of your pen, you have to clean the pen. Yes, you need to clean the pen. You need to maybe pour a whole bucket of water in the empty pen and then dry it up. Wash the pen, like you are washing the pen like you're washing a plate. You wash the pen, dry off the water, and then introduce your mulching materials back, new ones. Now you can either use fresh leaves of the plantain or you can use the drying leaves. Either of them works perfectly. The dry one tend to retain water faster and they hold water longer. The fresh ones keeps your snail farming in that time in which you put the leaf for a longer time. Most times when you don't have access to getting leaves on a regular, I advise that you go for the fresh ones, so that before it gets dry and start decaying, the leaf will last longer for you. But if you have access to meeting or getting these leaves on a regular, then it is very much better that you start with the dry ones, because the dry ones can actually retain the water longer than the fresh ones. You're welcome to Raw Visual Snail Farm. This is our 8th part of the business, the 8th snail farm itself. I'm going to be taking you through how the 8th part is also being run so that you can also make your choices. Like I said, you can do either the earth or the soil. And so let me take you inside as I show you how it's being done. Okay. This is the earth part of Norwegian snail farm. Today I'll be taking you step by step how you can set up your farm from stocking. Alright, now we want to set up this farm. We want to set up this pen. So I'll be taking it one step at a time. Now the soil inside this pen, as at this moment, has been treated already. Now we treated this soil by using hot water. We boil hot water with a stove and then we sprinkle all across the pen, and we have allowed this to cool for over 30 minutes. Now we're going to be taking the next step. First, you need to know that you need to protect your pen from predators, from ants, before you introduce your snails into your farm. So now we'll be applying engine oil across the entrance of the pen. Now we're doing this as a preventive measure so that ants will not come in when the snails are already inside the pen. Okay, so now we're introducing the engine oil. Engine oil is what we mostly use to fight our snails predators, especially the ant, the soldier ant. As you can see, I am not pouring it inside the pen because the soil is already treated. Now we're doing this across all the entrance. Fine, the cover is very okay, it's well closed, but then we don't want to take chances. So we're doing this to keep off whatever that we want to creep in via the entrance, the tiny holes that we have left. Okay, so when you're starting off your farm, you need to have engine oil within your reach. Now this is done. Every ant that is supposed to come in through cannot go through this engine oil. Now we can be repeating this process over and over, depending on the nature of the place that you are. If the ants are actually disturbing you that much. Now that we've done this part of it, we need to introduce our mulching materials. I will be using the plantain leaves in this pen. So I'm going to be introducing the plantain leaves. Now, but before I also bring in the plantain leaves, I'm still going to treat them. The treating of this plantain leaf is all about washing off whatever that is coming with the leaves from the outside world. So we need to wash the leaf before we introduce it into the pen. And now let me show you how this is also done. Okay, now I want to boost the soil for the snails to also get more from their habitat here. What we have here is calcium. This is oyster shell powdered. We've blended this into a powder form. As you can see, it's a complete powder. And oyster shell is one of the highest source of calcium for your snails. You can actually use the oyster shell to do this. You can also use the eggshell to do this. You can also use the limestone to also do this. The essence of this art is to increase the nutrient in the soil. All right, and so what we do here is we just introduce the oyster shell across the pen. We introduce it across the pen, every part of the pen. Every part of the pen. It becomes the base. As the snails that are introduced into the pen, they also have access to calcium. Remember, if your snails shells are not growing, if the shells are not forming, then the snails cannot be growing. And so we do this to boost the soil. If you don't have oyster shell, you can go ahead and use eggshell, or you can also use the limestone or any other source of calcium you know that is not toxic. Remember that snails don't deal with anything that has toxics. So this is what you do when you are starting off your snail pen. You have to make the soil super rich. When you introduce them into the pen, they have access to rich quality nutrient as they live in their habitat. This oyster shell is a very hard shell, so it needs machining to turn it into powder, into fine powder. If you just crush it, the snails cannot digest it when it's crushed. It has to be a fine powder for the snails to actually enjoy what it is. So if you want to process it, you get your oyster shell, you take it to the engine for grinding. Then it will be blended until it turns into fine powder. Alright? And then if you're using the eggshell, there are people that also sell eggshells. You can buy already made ones. If you want to make by yourself, what you do is you get the eggs, you get the eggshell, maybe from wherever, maybe from your house or from vendors, wherever you're getting your eggshells from. What you do here is you wash for hygiene. Wash. After washing, you take them into your pot. You wash, you introduce them to your pot, boil them for like 2 to 3 minutes. Boiling, you see the eggshell boils. When it boils, you stop the process, you off your fire, take these eggshells out of the pot, dry them. You dry them. When they are completely dried, you take them to your blender. Either you take them to the machine to blend, or you use your blender. Your blender can actually blend your eggshell to a fine powder like this as well. And so you can do that to get your eggshell for your snails. Take note that you always must have to turn them into powder. Don't just crush. When they are in a powder form, it's easy for the snails to digest. So that's how you make your oyster shell, and that's how you make your egg shell calcium. Now sometimes some persons tell you to burn the oyster shell before grinding. Well, like they say, everybody has his own way of working, but here at Raw Vision Snail Farm, we don't burn before we blend. We blend directly, and so you don't get to lose any mineral. The whole 99% calcium source is all intact. And so you can do either of them all by yourself as you want to go into snail farming. We're treating the leaf now. Like I said, it's all about just washing the leaf to give them a fresh look, so that essence that came with them can actually be washed out of the leaf. Now with what we have here, if you just pour in water now, you might not get a complete process of taking off ants and every other creature that is in it. So we can also choose to just dip, wash out. Now this washing part of it, you can use the hot water, you can also use the cold water. The most important part is that you are actually taking your time to wash it all completely. All right, so what I'm doing here now is we wash and then we rinse. You wash and rinse, then you introduce into your pen. I will be doing this process for every of these leaves that is here. Now, the reason why we're not using this big bowl now is because even what we have here cannot go in all at once. So this is how you actually treat your mulching materials, your plantain leaves, or whatever leaf that you're using for your. As you go on, you rest. Like I said, you rest, you wash properly. Now what you're actually washing out of this thing you don't know, so you have to take your time to wash completely. Wash completely. And then you rest before you introduce into your pen. Now because it's the earth part of it, the earth pen, even as we're taking in the wet leaf, it's going to drain into the soil. And because we already have calcium in the pen, it's going to mix up with the calcium and make it moist into the soil. Now, as you can see, we also have fresh one. This means that you can either use the dry plantain leaves or you can use the fresh plantain leaf. Either one you have access to is very okay. But know that for each of them that you have, you need to always treat, wash, for you to get a complete value. Can you see what I am doing? I'm taking my time to wash and wash, and then you rest off before we introduce into the pen. And so we'll be doing this process continually until we get the required amount of the mulching materials that we need for each of the pen. Now, when you have a bigger bowl or a tank, a drum, the job becomes faster for you. Now, we're doing it gradually because of the size of what we have here. As you are increasing your pen, you also need to also increase the size of the rubbers or the bowl or whatever you'll be using to wash off the leaves. And sometimes some persons will tell you snail farming is very easy. As you can see, this part of the business is not an easy task. So as you are dropping in your pen, you are dropping just at the areas where you really want the leaf to be positioned. Now the areas where you position your leaves in your pen really don't count. It all depends on what and how you want your pen to look like. Now I'm going to discard this water and then bring in a new set of clean water. This water is already changing colors, and so we don't have to keep using this same one over and over and over. We'll wash, and then we'll also rinse before introducing into the pen. same process. Wash, rinse, and take into the pen. Right now, normally when you bring in your stocks, before introducing them into your pen, you have to energize them. These snails have undergone some stress in carrying them from one site to another site. And so when you bring them into your pen, the first thing you do is to dip them into water. Now, the essence of this water first is to wash away whatever they came into your farm with, off their shells and their flesh. And then the other part is that it also energizes them to be very active. And so we're going to be introducing water into the bowl. Now remember that snails like water is a yes, but snails don't swim. This means that for few seconds, few minutes, you need to take the snails out of the water. As you can see, the water is very dirty, and as such, some of the dirt that came in to your farm are already washed all out again too. So it's a very good way of energizing your snails. Now you leave them in the water for a few seconds before you take them out of the water. When you leave them in the water for a while, you start seeing them trying to crawl out. That means that they've sensed energy and they are already getting active. So we'll wash them for a few minutes. Meanwhile, the bowl that we're putting them here, the bowl has some holes, so the ones under might not get drowned because the water is also going off via the other side of it. And so we'll wait for a few minutes and see some of them coming out, and then we'll move into the next phase, which is sorting them by sizes. But you can't be putting all your snails in one pen with different sizes, so we'll be sorting them by sizes as we introduce them into their various pen. As you can see, most of them are already creeping, and now you can tell that they have actually energized. And so at this point, you cannot take them off the water. If you have other ones that you want to also energize, and then you also introduce those ones into the bowl. And so now we'll be taking these snails off the water because they are already crawling. Now as we're doing this, you notice that all the snails here are not of the same sizes, and since they are not of the same size, they all cannot be in the same pen. Like this cannot be in the same pen. The reason why you have to separate them by sizes when introducing them into their pen, so that they can all have equal rights in feeding. If you add small snails, growers with breeders or with jumbos, the growers will not be having enough food, because the big ones, the jumbos, the breeders, will be oppressing them as they are bigger than them. Now you have to take them all off the water, because if you don't do this, some of them will take in too much water, and it's not a good part for your snails at all. So this is how we stop. You bring in your snails into your farm. You have to introduce them into water. You make sure you are washing off whatever came into your farm with them off them, and so that when you introduce them into your pen already treated, you can live healthy and start producing just as you wish them to produce for you. So we've sorted them into 3. Even this snail is even just laying eggs, even in the act of the sorting. As you can see, this man just laid. They are all breeders. They are all laying snails. So it's not like we're sorting babies and growers. They are all breeders. Every one of them is going to lay. And so we are still going to use this video to show you how to incubate this egg that has just been laid. Alright, so from here now we're going to be introducing them into their various pen for where they are going to stay to finish up their job while they came into this farm. Their essence is to duplicate and multiply as so much egg and so much baby as possible. What is the instant laying here provision snail farm? Can you see that? Wow. When they're due for laying, no matter the position, they'll definitely lay their eggs. Now from this 4 snails egg, we are expecting 4 babies. That's the profit in snail farming. The eggs are actually your profit. As the eggs are coming, you're turning them into eggs, into babies, and then your farm is already expanded. And you can see others are also laying. So these are all breeders. Breeders are coming from every one of the collections. This one is just also laying their eggs. The season is up already, so get your farm set, get your farm running, get in touch with us. We'll give you prolific breeders that will flood your farm with a lot of eggs that will work it out. The eggs are not stopping yet. That's another coming. So it's a rain of eggs. Can you be that? And the moment you put them inside your pen, you notice them also trying to find their way into the beddings. As you can see, this is already trying to find his way into the plantain leaves. I most times tend to put all my snails in one spot so that you can actually come in the evening or the next day or whenever you're coming in to check your farm to see if they all are really active. Because if none of them is active, you'll come back the next day and meet them in that same spot. But if they are all active, they will all crawl into their hideout. So it also enables you to immediately know what is happening in your farm. The moment you start distributing them everywhere, it means you are going to sort the whole pen to get access to seeing if all of them are active or if anyone is dead along the line. And so this is how stocking is done. You treat your soil, you add calcium to the soil, you introduce your treated leaves, and then you bring in your snails. Before you bring in your snails, you make sure you've done all this. We've also equally used engine oil to work on the entrances so that ants cannot come into the pen. Now it's time to also introduce feeding. We have to introduce their water can and food into the pen. And so we'll be working on to the next phase of this video, this stocking. We want to introduce food and water. Basically, you can actually feed your snails via two ways, either by vegetables or by formulated feed. And right here at Raw Vision Snail Farm, we practice both. We practice the formulated feeding and the vegetables, the fruit feeding. But for this video, for the sake of this video, we'll be using the formulated feed to show what we do. And this is what we are putting into this meal. Here we have soya beans, we have oyster shell, we have bone meal, we have maize, and then we have granite cake. These are what we are missing out for our snails today. Now take note here that when you are missing or you are creating your formulated feed, you create your formulated feed based on what you need, based on what your snails are lacking. You see, there are other components you can also combine to make up your snail, but this is what we need for our snails now. And so these are our combination. They are all in different ratio, so it's not just missing with that ratio. And so for that of the ratio of the formulated feeding, we'll talk about that in another video. You know, like you know already, snail farming has different ways of earning, and nutritional part of the business is also a business. This part is different from the snail itself. This is another business inside the snail farming business. So if you want to also know how you can formulate a perfect rich feed that will give you results, give you growth results, give you laying results, and give you energetic results. You can always get in touch with us. We also guide you on what to use. It's not about just buying stock. You need to know what you're actually giving your snails. And so this is what we'll be giving them today. Now, when you mix your snail feed, it is very okay to introduce them into either a flat tray like this or a PVC like such. One hand of this formulated feed is going to take care of 100 snails in a day. That is how powerful and how rich the snail feed really is. When putting your snail feed in your pen, also consider the fact that these snails, you just introduce them into the pen, so they don't really know their way around the pen for the first time. So you tend to distribute the feed across the pen. Now when you distribute the feed across the pen, it will help every of the snail to get access to meal. That's one beauty. So we're going to be putting the feed in different areas so that all of them can have access to the meal. And so we just roll the feed all across the pen. And then we have to also introduce water into the pen. You can't be giving them dry feed without water. And so you also put water in a shallow bowl. Now take note here that this water bowl or water tray can be turned over, so you need to add weight so that the snails can turn the water away. And so this is how you actually set up your snail farm from start to end. You treat your soil, add calcium, add your treated leaves, introduce your snails, put in their water tray, give them feed, and then let them do their thing. When you set your farm very right, every time when you come into your farm, you start seeing eggs, and then your farm is growing. When you have snails with cracked shells, maybe either by them falling from height, or you mistakenly breaking their shells. Now, for this shell to get off completely and fill up, your snail feed needs to have a lot of calcium. It is the calcium in the feed that is going to enable and help the snail fill up its shells back. Now, if the shell is not getting filled, the others can attack, and if the others start attacking, this snail might just lose it. So giving your snail the right proportion of formulated feed can aid the shell's growth. Pen completely set. Food in place, water in place, snails active. Feed distributed across every corner of the pen, as well as all the water. Incubation of our snail eggs. Normally, when you want to incubate your eggs, is Very important that before you do that, get your incubator ready, get your incubator set. Now, incubating your eggs comes via different method. Some persons uses their pen, digging the earth and burying their eggs inside and cover, and then use plantain leaf to cover again, and after 21 to 33 days the babies will come all out. Some persons does the plantain leaves, some use disposable plate, and we are into disposable plate using. And so today I'll be showing you how we do our incubation for hatchability. Now, the first thing you need to understand here is before you pick your eggs from your pen, your incubator is set. Yes. Now, most times some persons will tend to pick the eggs from the pen, put them in the bowl or in the plate before introducing them to where they want to incubate them. It's not a good process. Get the place ready. Pick the eggs from where the snails were laid and then transfer it directly into the plate where you're going to use for your incubation, or if you are using the pen, that's what you're also going to be using. And so the first thing is we introduce our loamy soil into our plate, which is the bed. And so we introduce our loamy soil completely under the plate. What we do here is, after doing this, take note that the sand is not dry and it's not that wet. It's just moist. It can grip together. The water cannot come out even as you are squeezing it. If it's too dry, it might not hash. It won't hash, rather. So this is the best texture for your incubator stand. And then we'll now introduce our eggs into our incubate stand. So we are taking the eggs directly from the pen to where we want to incubate the eggs directly. And now this is 8 eggs we have here. These 8 eggs, after introducing them into the plate, we'll now cover them up with the loamy soil as well. We cover them all up. And then you seal. Normally, you have to put the date at which you are expecting each of these eggs to hatch. Now we're putting this egg today. We'll be counting 21 days from today to see that these eggs will turn into babies. Now take note here that when you come to your farm to check for your eggs, if they are hatched or not, if you notice that the sand is getting dry, you just sprinkle little water on it. This does not mean that you have to water it day in, day out. This does not mean that you have to water it day in, day out. You just sprinkle little water only when you notice that the sand is dry. Now take note here also that when you are incubating after coverage, don't put this under the sun. It has to be in a cool place, somewhere you don't have sun getting access to. So that is the only way you can actually get a total hatchability. So that's how you actually incubate eggs. You pick your eggs from the pen, you introduce them into your incubator. If you're using the disposal plate, you follow suit. If you're not using the disposal plate, if you're using your pen as your disposable plate, after digging the hole where you want to put in the eggs, you pick them from the pen and you drop them into the hole and cover up. That same place which you have covered up, tag the place with dates and numbers of eggs that you have in the place and the expected time when those eggs will be hatching. When you do this, at that time when you are expecting these eggs to be hatched, then you can open up the sand to pick up your babies. All right, so we have different species of snail. Now when you're going into snail farming, you need to understand the kind of snails that are available, the snails that are sellable in your area, in your country, in your state, in your locality. Every snail has its own selling location. We have different breeds that works very well in Nigeria. Now we have the three major types of snails. We have the AM, which is the Ashantina marginata. We have the AA, Ashantina ashantina, and then we have the AF, the Ashantina fulica. These snails all sells at their own timing and their own ways. In this region, Ashantina marginata might not sell that much. In this region, Ashantina fulica might sell more. So every area where you are, you need to understand the market in that region before you pick up the business. Now, sometimes we get some persons coming with the impression of which one will lay more, which one lays more, which one grows faster, which one does this and does that. Now, if you're coming in, you also need to get the full understanding how the snail farming actually works. Now, the Ashantina marginata, which is the AM. Now, I'm going to be using the initials for fast, so you understand what I'm talking about. The AM is Ashantina marginata, the AA is Ashantina ashantina, the AF is Ashantina fulica. So whenever you hear me say AM, you know I'm referring to Ashantina marginata. When I'm saying AA, you also know that I'm referring to Ashantina ashantina. And then when I say AF, you should also know that I'm referring to Ashantina fulica. Now, the AM, we have different sub of the AM even. Now we have the Ashantina marginata ovum, we have the Ashantina marginata santaros. Now both of them also have their own differences. The initials is AMO and AMS respectively. Now the difference between these two species, although they are all in the same umbrella of the AM, the Ashantina marginata, but the AMO and the AMS, the difference is that the AMO, which is the ovum, it grows faster. Even from their eggs, you can tell their eggs are bigger, and so they tend to grow faster than the AMS. But the AMS are rugged. The AMS can survive any location more than the AMO. That's the unique differences. But the truth is, at the end of the day, they will all get to table sizes. So the table size of the business is equal, but the time spent to grow from one stage to the other, that is where the AMO comes into play. That is where the advantage really plays a long way. And then we talk about the AM, the AA, the Ashantina ashantina. These species of snails are unique. Yes, they lay super high. That is their major criteria, their major benefit. They lay super high compared to the AMs. An AA can lay up to 500 eggs in a single clutch, 400 eggs, 300 eggs, 200 eggs, 100 eggs in a single clutch, where the AM are laying max 13 eggs. That's what we've seen in our farm. 13 eggs as maximum. We get 4, we get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. The max we have seen is 13. And so if you rate this laying of eggs, that is why people want to go into the AA farming. But the AA are very technical to rear. They don't do well in every location. They don't do well in every country. They don't do well in every state. The AA actually originated from Ghana. That's why they are called the Ghana tiger snails. And so you can actually rear these snails as well, but you need to understand how they are being handled. They require less heat and more air for them to survive. Now we'll be talking the differences via pictorial, so you can actually see exactly what we are talking about here. All right, so this is the AMO. This is the AMO. This AMS. Now, the first difference between these two snails is that this has a pink is more yellowish than the AMO. Most of the AMO are darker than this. Now sometimes you don't really get to know them because of the darkness or the yellowish. If you start knowing them, you just start knowing them. That's how it is. The cup of the AMO are always wider than the cup of the AMS. But the AMS tend to be more yellowish, and then they have colors at their tip. That's the major difference. The AMO don't have colors at their tips at all. So that's the difference. And then this is the AF. They are more like, they're always sharp at their tips. They are more closer to the AA. The AA also have a sharp tip. All right. And then we have a unique breed among snails too. We also have the albino snails. When you see any snails with the yellow meat, it's the albino. Now, albino snails are very unique in the farm. They have their own economical benefit as well. There are people that actually go for albino specifically because of having them as pets. And so the albino can actually sell higher than the normal snail. And so when you have albinos, you can also consider, there are persons that actually come for your albino snails. All right, we have different kinds of farming, snail farming, housing, snail farming structures generally. We have the intensive, we have the semi-intensive, we have the free range. Now, every one of them has their own advantage and disadvantage. Here we practice the intensive farming. Now, the free range is a farm where you just stock. You actually don't take total record of everything that happens in the farm, because you just bring in your snails, you put them into the farm, you feed them, you let them eat from the vegetables that you plant in the farm. You're giving them that natural enablement, that natural wildlife which they already have before you introduce them into your free range structure. But that of getting record of babies, getting record of snails dying, getting record of snails still alive cannot be 100% correct and sure, because the truth is you cannot be sorting your snails every now and then. That is why it's called a free range. You just dump your snails there and the snails start living naturally. You introduce your formulated feed, introduce your fruit, introduce your vegetables, your plants and all that, and then they start living their life naturally, like taking an artificial forest into your construction, and so they will survive. But you can't actually get total record. That's the difference. And then when you're talking about the intensive you can actually know how many snails you start off with. You can also know how many has gone off, because the truth is they are not animals, they are livestock, and every livestock has mortality. Some will die along the line. There is no farmer that doesn't record death. The difference is let the dying or the death be reduced, and that is where you say you are really making edge, you are making more money, or making growth, you are expanding, you are growing in the business. And so when you introduce your snails into your farm, you tend to know that, okay, you started with 100, and if 5 dies, you know you're having 95 left. If another dies, you know you're having this left. And then when they start laying eggs, as you are hatching, you can also take record of what are joining the farm. As the farm is also increasing, you also know that, okay, I now have 200, and I have 300, and I have 200, and I have 100, and just on and on. This is one difference between the two kind of farming, the free range and the intensive kind of farming. It helps you actually guide yourself if you are growing in the business or you are just there. We've seen farms where the farmer thinks the free range is growing, everything is fine, and the farm is working nice. When after a period of time they come in to see if they have enough stocks, and we discover that some of the snails seen from the outside are already there, they are just covered, and you think they are alive but they are dead. But if you are doing the intensive, you can actually be seeing your snails here and there, here and there, here and there as the business goes. All right, now when you are going into snail farming, there are certain things you must put into consideration. Number one is availability of water. Snails cannot do without water, so you need to have a source of water close by. Even if you are doing the soilless, or you are doing the earth, or you are doing a free range, you need water, because water is all they need. They can dehydrate very fast. As breeze is blowing through, they are dehydrating, so you need source of water to keep them cool and calm on a regular. And so now you consider availability of water, you also consider security, which is one of the major, because the truth is snails don't make noise. So if you don't have security around your farm or around your house, wherever you're farming, somebody can pick your snails and walk past you, you won't know. They are not like birds that will start making noise. So you need security in your farm yard or around your farm. You also need to have simple tools that you'll be using inside the farm, like the rake. You need the rake to till the soil on a regular. Now every time when you sort out eggs in your pen, when you're doing the earth, when you sort out eggs, you need to just use the opportunity to till the soil. You till the soil, it helps to mix their excretors with the sand, so you are making the pen look hygienic for your snails. And the earthworm that will be inside your pen helps you to take off the excretors from the snail. So your earthworm in your pen, they tend to coordinate with your snails, and so when you tilling the soil, they also help to eat off the excreta, so it becomes a win-win for you. So that's the function of your rake. You also need to have torch. So many farmers neglect the torch. Remember that this farm, these animals, these snails, these livestock are nocturnal animals. They are only active at night. So if you are coming to your farm at night, you need a torchlight for you to see the activity that are happening in your farm. So you also need a torch. And then you need engine oil. Engine oil is one vital tool you need in your farm. It helps you to fight against termites, ant, lizard, and all that creeping predators. And so it also helps you to push off that. You need flat trays for your water and for your feed. You don't put the feed inside a bowl. You don't put the water inside a bowl. You need flat trays so that they can access every of the feed, either the feed or the water. Now, snails generally, when we're talking about how to make money in snail farming, there are different ways you can actually make money from this business. You can make money via training other people about the business. That's a way of making money. You can also make money selling electronics books, that is the ebooks, to starters and already professional farmers. You can also make money via selling the snail itself. Selling the snail as a whole. Live snail, you supply consumers or you supply the marketers. You can also start selling just the shell of the snail. You can as well also sell the slime from the snail. You can sell the processed snail. So there are different ways you can actually make money in this organization. Now the beauty is this: when you are coming into this business, you need to carve out your niche. You need to know what you want in this business. Are you here to supply those that will be consuming? Are you here to sell the meat? Are you here to sell the slime? Are you here to train others about the business? When you know what you want from the business, you can actually make the best out of the business. Is there money in this business? Yes, there is money, but you also need to know the area you are good at, the area you can actually strive super well. Now, the shells itself, those that are into livestock get them from you to produce feed. So the selling is just like the slime. You can get the liquid slime, you can also get the powdered slime. So every way, every how, you can make money in this business.
Wow, wow, what an amazing session. Like, thank you so much, Mr. Raymond. Thank you so much for this session. Like, it has been mind blowing. I believe all of you enjoyed this session. Like, it's really, really practical for me. I've just been in the backstage watching everything from the start to the end, and it's been back to back practicality here. Like, anybody can use this information and start his own snail farming business immediately. So we really want to appreciate our speaker for this awesome tutorial on snail farming. We really appreciate you, Mr. Raymond Osajere. So his contact details is scrolling down on at the bottom of the screen. You can always reach out to him for training, consultancy, or for purchase of snails, or whatever you want to do. You can always contact him, and he's going to attend to you on that. So while we wait for him to join us on the backstage, I'll go ahead and introduce or call out or give shout outs to all those of you who dropped your name in the comment section. Because when I came in, I said drop your name and then tell us where you're watching from. And one more thing, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe immediately. Click the subscribe button. If your subscribe button is red, I'll give you a minute now. Please make sure it's black. Click on it and make sure it's black. Subscribe to this channel and make sure you share this broadcast with as many people as possible. So I'm going to be giving some shout outs. All right, we have the first person here, Asa Kennedy. Asa Kennedy said, the long-awaited snail webinar is here. Love watching you from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Thank you, Asa Kennedy, for joining us from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. All right, this is Idara Ime. Idara Ime is saying now, this is interesting, watching from Akwa Ibom. Wow, Akwa Ibom, Uyo. Thank you for joining us, Idara Ime. Thank you for joining us. The next person we have here is Ifine Vivian. Ifine Vivian says she's watching from Imo State, Nigeria. Ifine Vivian from Imo State, Nigeria. Thank you for joining this broadcast. I believe you got value for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are still going to join the question and answer session. So if you have any question, please drop it in the comment section. Drop your question in the comment section. Everything will be attended to as soon as possible. All right, so we have Peter Blessing. Peter Blessing said, I'm happy to be here. I'm watching from Port Harcourt. Peter Blessing is watching from Port Harcourt. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. All right, the next person we have here is Daniel Israel. Daniel Israel said, I'm watching from Ogun State in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, Daniel Israel. Thank you very much for joining us. Here we have Benedict Johnson. Benedict Johnson is watching from Sapele in Delta State, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, Benedict Johnson. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I believe you enjoyed the broadcast. So we have Ebinta Laurentia. Ebinta Laurentia is watching from 82 Division, Enugu State. Wow, that must be a military barracks, 82 Division, Enugu State. Thanks for joining us, Ebinta Laurentia. We have Irabo Oduware. Irabo Oduware is we are on standby. I believe you've seen the entire show. Thank you for standing by to the end. Thank you. We have Dorothy Okpoli. Dorothy Okpoli is watching from Benin City, all the way from Benin City in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, Dorothy. We have Olatokumbo Taiwo. So this is Taiwo Talks. Lovely being here, watching from Ilobo Eremi, Badagry Aziz, Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Taiwo Talks, for joining this broadcast. We appreciate your presence. Please, as I say again, any question you have, please, your question, your comment. If you enjoyed this broadcast, let us know in the comments. Hey, I enjoyed this broadcast. I want to see more of this next time. Make sure you leave that comment in the comment section. We are going to read everything out. So we have Kelechi Nwako. Nwako Kelechi said, I'm Kelechi watching from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Thank you, Kelechi, for joining this broadcast. Thank you. We have Francisca Ejimofo waiting. I believe you've waited to the end, and I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Thanks for joining us. So we have Uche Obi. Uche Obi is watching from Enugu State. Uche Obi is watching from Enugu State. All right. Thanks for joining us, Uche Obi. I don't know if our speaker is in the backstage yet. So once it comes up in the backstage, I'd like to be signaled. so that I will go straight into the question and answer session. So we have Eunice Moment. Eunice Moment is watching. Hi, I'm watching from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Thanks for joining us, Eunice Moment. Thank you so much. So we have Oji Caleb. Oji Caleb said, I'm here again from the UK. Thank you, Oji Caleb, for always joining us all the way from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Oji Caleb. I'm here again from the UK. We see you, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. So we have Gracie Idoko. Gracie. Hey, I'm Gracie from Benue State. Thank you for joining us, Gracie. Thank you. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video to this point. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. It's going to help the algorithm. All right, we have Asa Kennedy. Great work. Thank you, Asa. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for this wonderful comment. Gracie Idoko, this training has been worth the time and data so far. Wow, I'm happy you enjoyed the training, and thank God that it's worth your time and your data. Thank you very much for that kind comment. So we have Muhammad Abdul. Hello, I'm Muhammad from Jos. Hello, okay, hold it. He said, hello, I'm watching from Jos. We need more trainings like this in Africa. Hopefully, I'm going to bring all of that to you in this channel. So if you're not subscribed yet, please hit the red subscribe button and join the community, because we are making sure that every kind of training on different aspects of agriculture comes to you live and direct on this channel. So hit the red subscribe button, turn on the notification, and make sure that you get all of our notifications. So let's go on. We have Melvin Duo. Thanks for this. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for joining the broadcast. Thank you. So let's go on. If you have more. So this is Winifred. Oh, am I saying that? Yeah, Winifred Ebel. So I'm Fred, watching from Port Harcourt. Thank you, Fred, for joining us. Thank you, Fred. Thank you so much for joining us. So we have new song Geoffrey. I'm Geoffrey from Abuja. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. New song Geoffrey. I'm Geoffrey from Abuja. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you for staying to the end of this broadcast. Please, like I said, your question and answer should start coming. Please, your question and answer should start coming immediately. Please keep bringing them in. Bring up your question. All right, our speaker is in the house already. Say hello to his house. I think he's having some network issue, but while he's up there, let's go on.
Good afternoon.
Shegun Ajibade. Shegun. Hello, Mr. Raymond. How are you doing this evening? His network is something. While he sorts out his network, let's go ahead with the introduction. We have Shegun Ajibade. Shegun Ajibade is watching from Ibadan. Welcome. Well done. He said, well done. Thank you, Shegun, for that. We have Aboshede from Aboshede Akinwole, watching from RCCG Camp Mowe. Wow, this is huge. Okay, so today is Good Friday. Some of the Christians, most of them are in different camps. So this person is watching from the campground. Please, I hope you are watching during the break. Please make sure you don't disconnect from the spirit. All right, thank you so much for joining us all the way from RCCG camp. I salute you. That was a big and huge sacrifice you did there. Thank you. I see what you did. So we have hello, sir, Mr. Raymond. Can you hear us now? Hello, Mr. Raymond. Oh God, let's pray. This network does not disturb the broadcast. Let's pray. It doesn't. No way, we'll not allow it. All right, so let's go. We have
Yes,
Toby.
hear you.
Okay, there is a bit of lag from your end, but I'm trying to pick up the things you are saying.
Yes, friendly.
Oh, it's raining. Yikes. I know rain can be something else when it comes to affecting network. All right, let's just go. Let's see. I pray it the coast is clear before we finish this. So we have Toby O'Neilson. Toby O'Neilson is watching us from Ilorin. From Ilorin. Thank you for joining us from Ilorin. Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Toby, for joining us. Thank you. So we have Oladele Ayola. Oladele Ayola is watching from Ibadan. Watching from Ibadan. Thank you so much for joining us, Oladele. So we have Samuel Eluchie. Eluchie Samuel is your name. Yeah, thank you for joining us, Eluchie Samuel. We have Maximus Chemeze Anuku. Chemeze from Nampula, Mozambique. Whoa, Nampula, Mozambique. Thank you for joining us, Chemeze. Thank you so much. We have Tifa Martins. If you've not dropped your comments, leave your questions in the comment section, please. Leave your questions in the comment section. Everything will be attended to. We know we have a little bit of network challenge. We apologize for that, and we hope this will become fine soon. It's raining. Even in my area, it's really, really dark. I just hope it doesn't rain soon. So let's finish this fast. Mr. Raymond, I see your network is getting better. Can you hear us now? Ouch,
I hear
ouch,
you, sir.
ouch, ouch. Okay. I think that is a big lag. They're up to like 5 seconds. Okay, Tifa Martins, Latifat from Lagos. Thank you very much for joining us, Latifat. Thank you very much, Latifat. So I'll just take this time out to just appreciate our speaker. That's him there, Mr. Raymond. He was the one that took his time to, compile this wonderful training to make it as practical as possible, And it's something that I believe all of you who have joined to this time have benefited so much from. So very shortly, as soon as I'm certain that his network is clear, he'll start taking all of your questions. As soon as his network is clear, he'll start taking all of your questions. But while we wait for him, I'll just go ahead and do what I know how to do best and do what I can. So I'll continue to read all of your comments. Everybody will be attended to. I promise. Everybody will be attended to. So we have Ikem John. So please, I think I missed Ikem John. Okay, Muhammad Abdul. How do you hatch snail eggs? Okay, this is a wonderful question. Like, this is so timely. I think I have something for you. Like, we learned about the incubation and how everything is put into the hatchery. I have something for you that's going to show you how snails actually come out from their shell. So just watch this right now. Wow. Did you see that? That's how snails come out of their shells. It's just like chickens, the way chickens, break out of their shells and then they try to struggle. And you saw the snails eating the shells. They ate the shells because the shell contains calcium. And calcium is very, very important for shell formation and for the growth of snails. So that's why you saw the snail eating up the shell. I believe many of you have not seen that, like, to sit down and watch that. That's a time-lapse video, so it took maybe hours and then it was compressed to minutes. All of those things happened in a very long time, and then now we have it. Mr. Raymond, are you with us? Your camera is upside down. All right. So while we wait for Mr. Raymond, this network is really, really bad. I'll see what I can do. We have if he fail, if he fail, let's say Epifale from South Africa. Much love from South Africa. Thanks for joining us. Mr. Raymond, are you okay now? Mr. Raymond, can you hear us?
I think the network is a bit better from this position.
Yeah, I think it's way better than where you were before.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much for joining. Thank you. So, I really want to appreciate you for the work you did. Like,
Exactly.
it's mind blowing, mind blowing. I don't expect it to be that deep. Like, how do you feel giving off that kind of information? It's so deep. Like, this is what people pay hundreds of thousands to learn. This is like a full-fledged class. How did you do that? Like, how do you feel sharing this with our African audience?
Okay. The truth is, I this mindset of you rise by raising others. Keep
Fantastic.
hoarding, is no will grow. So dishing out information that can also make somebody say, "Thank God I was in a meeting," or "Thank God I met the reason why I actually did what I have done."
Wow, wow, wow. Fantastic comment there. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We rise by lifting others. It's very important that you don't leave anybody on the side. Thank you so much, Mr. Raymond. That was really mind blowing. And your section was, very, very practical, down to earth. Everything we saw, everything live. So now we have a bit of questions, so we can just now that your network is a bit clear, so you just take some of the questions. We have Kelechi Wako. Kelechi Wako is asking, is there any implication in using a dark net over the pen? I don't know if you got that question. Mr. Raymond, did you get the
If there
question? Is there any
is
implication?
any implication
Because we saw that you're using a
using
black net.
a dark net over the pen. The essence
Yes.
of the net just to prevent. You said
All right. So I believe he's trying to
the
say the essence of
net it just prevents predators, like also enable
ventilation.
ventilation.
Okay. So the color does not matter,
It
I believe.
doesn't really mean if it has to be a blue net or dark net or white net. The essence of
All right, so here we have it. Kelechi Wako, I believe you got the answer to your question. There is no, spatial implication. You can use any color of net, but the major thing is you are preventing insects from entering your snail pen, and you're also allowing enough ventilation into the snail pen. So if there's another question, let's just take that. I believe that's the full answer. So Shegun Ajibade is asking, is it compulsory to put soil first on concrete pen, or banana leaves only would do without any soil at all? So it's asking, is it compulsory to put soil first in concrete pen, or banana leaves only would do without any soil at all? You want to answer that?
is it compulsory to
So is it compulsory to
put
put?
soil in the concrete or barley? Is this you can actually also put soil on your okay. It's not like because it's the concrete floor, then there's a law that says if you put sand, rules of sand. The thing is, it's all about what you know and what you really want to achieve.
Okay.
If you're adding sand, you still have to put in leaves. Like in row vision, we
Yes.
don't bother putting sand. We just introduce armor leaf. The armor leaf became faster.
It,
So
it,
it
it,
stays like the sand that you will be put. You must add
okay.
leaves because if the sand is just on the base, the snail will stay on top of the sand. They are from direct sun and direct breeze. Too much of the breeze make the shell start getting white.
All right. Fantastic. Uh, Shegun Ajibade, I believe you got
To
that.
start
So is it
dehydrating
compulsory?
as you well. If it does, you can also repeat and then I will take it again.
All right, great, great. So, Shego, I believe you got the answer to that. From what he said you can actually choose. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on what you want to do. It's either you choose to add soil, but the fact is there is still going to be a need for banana leaves because the plantain leaves because the snails usually take shade under the leaves. They take shade under the leaves. So if you are going to use the soilless type, like the one he showed in the video, if you miss that, you can just go back and watch it again. In the soilless type, you use the almond leaves. So that leaves decays, and when it decays, it looks like sand. But you still have to provide the uh, banana leaves or plantain leaves where the snails can hide under. So that's just the fact. It depends on you. But once you go over the video again, you can see the advantages and the disadvantages and how to manage each of the pens. So let's go over to the next question. Kelechi Nwako is asking, the engine oil to be used, is it used one or a fresh engine oil? You want to answer that? Because I know the answer, I saw it. So are we using a used engine oil or a fresh one? Okay, okay. Because of the lag, let me just go straight and answer. You are supposed to use,
Yeah, wait. You can actually use the fresh one or you use the
okay,
condemned.
the condemned. All right, for economical sake,
You can
using the fresh one is expensive.
use the fresh one or you can use the condemned. You should
All
go for
right,
the
all
condemned.
right.
The condemned is cheaper for you.
All right, so the condemned one is cheaper and easily accessible.
The condemned one,
If you are
they
using,
want to throw them off, so they can just give it to you at will. So it becomes a free gift.
okay, okay. So you say you can collect that from generator repairers or car mechanics. You can get the condemned oil from them and use it. It's free. It's available for free. So it's cheaper than going to buy, fresh oil. It's very expensive right here. Almost $3 to buy one or 1,500 to buy one. So we have our next question from Gladys Fayemi. Gladys Fayemi say, how many snails can one start with in that size of pen? So the size of your pen, how many snails can enter that pen? You want to give us a number?
Okay, the size of now the size of that particular pen, the size of the pen is not really like you need a particular number of snails because the size of your snails also depend on the numbers. Like say for instance,
Yeah.
there's somebody that is going to get growers and somebody that is buying large. The numbers will not be
Yeah.
the same because of their sizes. So
Yes.
plus minus, if you're actually going for that same pen we use in the video, you can go for like 50 and it's okay.
50. All right. All right. So for that size of pen, 50 snails is okay to
50 will do.
fit into that
50.
pen. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. I believe you got that answer. So we have somebody else asking a question here. Gracie Idoko. Gracie Idoko is asking, how much does it cost to start up a snail business with at least 200 snails? So I want to give an estimate, at least 200 snails. How much will it cost? Just an estimate. I believe a lot of things need to be factored in.
Now, honestly, there's
Wow, wow.
amount. The very reason is I kind of want to start with. If I'm going to browse, I might get them say 200, 250, depending on the seller. All right. So now, if you let me just give you a range. You're coming with the target of 200 snails.
Yes.
You can add for 200 for one, 250 pounds. And then never forget the fact that you are going to build the pen. Whether you're using the block or you would, and depending on the location or something. So plus minus, you're still looking at 100 plus into 200.
Wow, the network is really, really lagging. We did not
Are we
get the
there?
amount you called. You say plus or minus the amount. We missed the amount.
Plus or minus, you're still going to spend over 100.
Okay, let me say over
So 200.
100,000 because I know you're not saying 100 million there. So 100,000 is the answer. So over 100,000 we do for that. So buying of the snail, building a hutch for the snail, building a pen, you're still going to spend over
100 into
100,000.
200.
Okay, 100 to 200. All right. Okay, and that is in naira, please. 100 to 200 is in naira, so you can do the conversion to dollars using the current conversion rate in Nigeria. That's about 460 or 463. You just check that out. So if you have more questions, you can bring them up. I believe Gracie, you got the answers to your question. So you have to factor a lot of things in: the building, the cost of building the pen, the cost of feed, the cost of buying your initial stock. Those are very, very important things that you need to consider when starting your snail farming. So when you are thinking of 200 snails, you check how much am I going to buy each of the snails. Because between 250 to 500, depending on who you are buying from, and then you build your pen depending on the mason or the carpenter. You can choose block or you can choose to use wood. All of those things, factor them together. You can use it to create a quotation for yourself and start your own snail farming business. So next to the next question, we have Kelechi. Okay, I missed that. So this is Gladys Fireme. Gladys Fireme is asking, can't you get infection using bare hands to wash your stock? Are you with me, Mr. Raymond? I believe she's referring to that point where you were washing the snails with your bare hands. So she's asking, can't you get infection from doing that? Okay, so why we lost him, I'll just go ahead and answer that question. So the answer is no, you don't get infection from, washing your snails
The
with your bare
process,
hands.
you also have to wash your hands. Yes, I'm with you.
Yes, okay, because we lost you. Go on, go on.
Yes. I mean,
Yes, we can hear you now.
one of your hand is just unique nature. Use your hand by right before you start dealing with your snails. And
Mhm.
even when you are true, you are also supposed to use your hand before you leave your farm. So there's no specific law that says you should.
Wow, that is
Hygienically, you are supposed to say, I washed my hand. So I
okay.
advise you
Okay.
also
Uh,
there's no without washing my hands. So
all
I
right.
did the
So,
hygiene part.
all right. So for hygiene's sake, make sure you wash your hands
It's not like
before
running
and after handling your snails. So make sure you wash your hand before and after handling the snake. It's general for everything, just for biosecurity sake. Biosecurity, any method of agriculture there, especially livestock farming. Make sure you wash your hands before and after handling the livestock. Is very important for hygiene's sake. So, but you also have to be careful when washing that snails because the shell can be very, very sharp. So it doesn't cut your hand. You saw the way he was doing that skillfully, going front and back. You don't go and start, turning everything around. So you have to go skillfully back and forth, and it's going to wash off very clean. So we have another question from Folashade Olatiru. Folashade Olatiru, thank you for joining us. I'm just seeing that name now. He said, can you repeat the incubation of eggs? I've lost over 500 eggs through incubating. Okay, so Folashade, what I would say is the video is still going to be available on this channel, all right? So you just go over it again and watch exactly how he did the incubation, all right? I believe that's what you want to say, Mr. Raymond. because we cannot go back to that exact point right now. So you just go over the video again and see exactly how to incubate. So there are different methods of incubation. This method is using the takeaway plates. Is using plates, that's disposable plates. Other people can choose to create their own pen. Just use one separate pen for incubation. But the point is, make sure you're handling your eggs with your spoon, a plastic spoon. You saw what he did. Never touch it with your hand. And there's no point watering it the way you water your other pen. All right. So just make sure it's you've prepared the pen enough. You do all the testing where you pack the soil in your hand, see the loamy soil, very black, very dark. You squeeze it. Once you notice that there's no water coming out and it molds in your hand, you know that okay, this is good, it's fantastic. Now you can use it for your snail pen. All right. So it just once in a while, and if you want to water, you use a spray bottle just to make it damp, not really wet and waterlogged. All right. So you just look at that. Folashade, I believe that answers your question. Mr. Raymond, we're having problem with the network. All right, let's welcome Melvin.
Yeah.
Melvin Duo. Melvin Duo say she's watching from Liberia. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you for joining us from Liberia, Melvin Duo. So we have Enabulele Victor. Enabulele Victor is watching from Bonny Island in Port Harcourt, River State. Thanks for joining us. Be inspired. Be inspired is watching from. Okay, be inspired. Said my name is Anu from Ibadan. Thank you very much for joining us, Anu from Ibadan. We have more people here. This training is detailed. Toby Onosun, thank you. This is the kind of comment I want to see. Like, I'm very sure that the training is very detailed, so I'm very confident of it. Thank you. I like seeing that kind of comment. So this is Kelechi Nwako. It's a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Kelechi Nwako. Thank you, Kelechi Nwako, for that comment. So I want to remind all of you, for those who have not subscribed to this channel yet, a lot of this kind of video is going to be coming your way more often. So subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you'll be the first to be notified whenever we go live. It's really, really important because the goal is to reach more African farmers, to help you succeed in agriculture. It's not going to stop here. We believe we are going to do more and more. There are several different aspects of agriculture that we have not explored. This is just 5 out of everything. So there is so much to be done. So make sure you like this video, click on the thumbs up button now. It does not cost anything, and then click on the subscribe button to be a part of this family. So we still have more people. We have JJ. JJ is saying this is so interesting. I know. Thank you, JJ. It's so interesting. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed the broadcast. So we have Gladys Fayemi. Gladys Fayemi said, when will be harvesting time? Okay, when will be harvesting time for this pen you have just set up, for instance? Mr. Raymond, so for this pen that you just set up in this broadcast today, how long is it going to take before you start harvesting from that pen? Are you with me? So how long before the snails will lay eggs, and the eggs will grow to
it depends
maturity?
on the farmer.
I'm with you.
And in raw vision snail farm, we don't really wait until we get the snails to jumbo. We sell at interval. We sell week. When they hatch, under a week we sell. A month we sell. 3 months we sell. So it depends on individual farmer. You can be a farmer that chooses to grow snails until it gets to full point of lay before you start selling. You can be a farmer that grows the snails until it gets to breeders or it gets to before you sell. So harvest time depends on individual farmer. But if you are on the general, like somebody wants to take the snails to the big side, you're looking at a year and above.
All right. So it all depends on what you choose. what you are growing for. If you want quick, sell off, you can sell off immediately. If you want to grow to table size and sell, that will take about 12 months to 1 month, 12 to 18 months period. That's the breeder size. 12 to 18 months, that's the breeding size. So it depends on you. All right, so we have another question here from Melvin Doe. Melvin Doe is asking, I believe Melvin Doe is from Liberia. So she's asking, what are the specific feed for snails? What are the specific feed for snails? You got the question, Mr. Raymond?
Snail feed is not like dead feed where you have, uh, yeah, snail feeds are not like dead feed where you have grower, you have finisher, you have. Now, you can choose what you want to feed yourself
Okay.
with. Like I said initially, it depends on what you want from the thing. If you're actually looking at growth, and then you need to give them more of protein, more of calcium. But as the organism is getting bigger than the share, it becomes the problem. Floating becomes the
Yeah.
order of the day.
Okay.
That is
Fantastic. So we can feed them anything.
is closer. So the feeding, are we together?
Yes, we are together. I can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, I'm with you. The network is still a bit of an issue. But we are still with you.
That's what I'm trying to work.
I see you're moving around really to get the network up. So we appreciate your efforts. That's really amazing of you. Thank you so much for doing
I'm
that.
hungry to get better.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. Like, he's hungry to give you value. Did you hear that? He left his room to come outside just to get good network and deliver the message directly to you, so you get much more value than you pay for. So now that we notice that we have a lot of network issues, I believe someone can decide to come to you for training or consultation or any of those kind of things personally, where the network obviously will not be an issue. I believe you have such services.
Yes, we do. We actually do training on site, and then we also have online training for people that cannot visit the site. But the thing is,
Mm.
I really prefer people coming to site because it's easier when you sit. And the fact that some persons cannot come, even when they would love to come, also gave us that
Yes.
opportunity of doing live training. So our room where we do a
Okay.
Zoom training. We'll be at the farm, you'll be in your bedroom or in your parlor. We'll teach you what
Yes.
you need to know. You can ask any kind of question you
All right.
get to see how it's done.
So you have both live training. So for the live training, I believe one of the things that discourage a lot of people from attending live training is their security and then accommodation. So when you talk about live training, are you going to provide, a secured accommodation for them and things like that?
Yes. Now, in our live training, in your payment, we also put in your accommodation as part of it. All right. We
Oh,
lodge you in a
yes.
secured hotel where you can come in the morning to
Mm.
the farm to learn and you return back.
Wow. That's the La
Yes.
Vida
We set up
lifestyle.
always two
Cruise.
sessions in the morning and in the evening. So in the morning you
Okay, there are
come,
two
you get to
sessions.
train. In the evening you come back again. So we need to look flexible for every person that is coming. Yes, two sessions
All right.
daily, and it's 3 days training on site.
Okay. How about those online?
Now, the
Okay.
online people that not work with them either via WhatsApp or our Telegram group. We use both of them. Now, the benefit they also have is that you get to see more videos. And why we also announce a live streaming where you have to stay online just like we are now. And then
Yes.
do the whole practical, you get to see it.
Something.
And the beauty about our training generally, whether online or offline, we don't just train you and dump you.
Very important.
Until you start selling. The moment you know, okay, you are not the boss and you want to go, we'll let you go. It's not about training, it's about following up until you make something. The brain
That's
is for somebody to
wonderful.
talk about it is because of Raymond, I actually made this thing work. That's the vision. It's not about the cash.
Wow, I believe that's where you got the name from, Raw Vision, because you have a vision and you're really chasing it.
You have to get the vision. That's just it.
Very important. So it's not about the training, my people. It's not about the training. It's all about execution. Execution, execution, execution. Anything you want to do in life, execution is important. And the same thing applies in this training. And thank God we have a trainer like Mr. Raymond who is ready to push you to execute whatever you are paying to learn. So if you're going to join his live training or his or online training, whichever one you want to do, live on site or online, you're going to contact him. His contact is scrolling down on the screen. Even his address, you can always go to his farm in Uheli, number 25, Osajere Estate, Uheli, in Delta State, Nigeria. You can always visit the farm, see what they are doing there, do your practicals with them. Also, his contact is on the screen. Please, you can always contact him for consultancy, snail farm training, and even to buy your own stock, your snail stock. So his contact is on the screen. Please contact him. Everything is there. Facebook, follow him on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Everything is Raw Vision Farms. Raw Vision Farm. Raw Vision Farm. So his contact, his phone number is +234 +234 813 8789 858. I repeat, +234 813 878 9858. His email is rawvisionfarms@gmail.com. So you can always contact him for private lessons, for consultancy, for your snails. Anyway, I believe you deliver to everywhere in Nigeria. Do you deliver across Nigeria too? Because we have somebody like Melvin Duo joining us from Liberia. If she wants snails from, will you send to her in Liberia? Okay, great.
We actually have
So,
sent to Ghana before. Yes, we have sent out
wow,
of Nigeria before.
nice, fantastic. So anywhere you are, you can place your order from Revision Farm and you get it delivered. So let's go on with our questions, all right? So we have Melvin Duo. Melvin Duo is in Liberia and she really, really wants to start snail farming. That's why she's asking a lot of questions. So she have how do you supply water to your snail pen? So how do you supply water to the snails? You got the question?
Now, like if you watch the video, the training from the beginning, yes, I do.
Yeah.
If you watch the video from the training from the beginning, I actually said for you to set up your farm, you must have access to water. It's one of the more
fundamental
in snail farming. So if you don't have or a water reservoir, then you need to have another source of just stocking water. It is either you're using from the tap, using the hose, we are doing the earth. If you are not doing the earth, you are doing the soilless, you need to use little cans or you use your hand to sprinkle water. That's the only water you have as an option. Put under the sun, let the sun take care of it before you use. So you don't lose. Did you hear me, sir?
Yes, right. So water is very, very important, is fundamental. So to give water to your snails in the pen, use a flat plate. Remember what she showed in the beginning of this video. Use a flat plate, make sure it's flat, and put like a stone inside of the water, something heavy. Put a weight on the flat plate so that the snails don't crawl under and spill the water over. So you have to put something very strong, right, on it. So that's how you apply water. You feed the snails with water, and then for watering the farm, you can use a sprinkler. He used a plastic, so you can use that sprinkler to sprinkle water in the pen. So we have another question from Kelechi Nwako. Kelechi Nwako is asking, who buys the slime of snails? Please. Who are those people that buy the slime? You said something about selling slime, selling meat.
The slime of snail. Now, so Nigerians, Africans generally, we like the big money part. Coming to slime part now is just because of the money is
It's huge.
so high. Now, different people buy the slime. It's just not that it's not much yet in Nigeria. All right.
Yes.
But those that produce this organic, those that produces drugs, pharmaceuticals, the buy. So
Yes.
the buyers are there. Benefit if you have contact outside the shop of Nigeria, contact outside the shop. So those that produces cream buy, those that produce drugs buy, those that uses it for organic matter also buy the slime.
All right. So three kinds of people: those that use the slime for as organic matter, those into cosmetic. Yeah, there's one time I was doing the research in Korea. All these K-pop artists, they actually use slime. They have a slime mask which you can use, for as cosmetic to, make your skin smooth. So yes, they use snail slime in cosmetics and for medicinal purposes in pharmaceuticals.
Anti-aging.
So you just contact them. But although we don't, for Nigeria, Africa, I don't know about any African country that is into extraction of snail slime yet, but I'm very certain in Korea, yes, there is mass production of snail slime there. They actually extract slime and produce cosmetic there. So we have another question. Kelechi Wako is asking, after the snails are hatched, what next? So we've seen the incubation process. Now we've seen the egg hatch. So after the hatching, what next? What do you do with the baby snails?
All right. Now, taking care of your baby snails is one of the major parts of snail farming. Because if your baby snails are not growing, the business is not growing. It is your baby snails that is actually your profit in snail farming.
Your
You are not
profits.
buying
Mm,
snail 100 naira to sell it 110 naira. You are buying snail to produce you more snails. So now
more
when you
snails.
have baby snails, when they are hatched, they are first 1 month, you give them very soft fruits, soft vegetables with calcium. Always put vegetables and
Mm,
calcium to give them that first growth. If you miss the first 2 months of your baby snails, they will get stunted. That's why most times you see some snails stay
as
like 8 months, they are still very tiny. If you miss it, that first, you have missed the process. So that first period, give them fruits and calcium.
okay.
Now, take note here too that when you are handling your baby snails, like let's
Mhm.
look back to that we just used for our illustration. If you have such a pen and you want to put in, let's say, 10 snails, 10 baby snails. If you put in 10 baby snails or even 20 baby snails in that pen, if you come back the next week, you see like half of them are dead. They won't have access to
Mm.
food because the place is too big. So when you
Oh,
have little snails, you tend to accommodate them in a tiny place so that they can
tiny.
all have access to meet the feeding, to meet the food. That is the secret.
Mm.
If they are not eating,
Very
then they
important.
are bound to die. So if you have thousands of snails, you can pack all of them in a big place, and then you increase the numbers of train or the numbers of PVC which you are putting your feed, and then they will all start getting access to food at their own different timing.
Wow, 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 wow. So feeding is very, very important for the baby snails. If you don't feed them well, they'll have stunted growth. All right. So make sure you're feeding them well. Use soft fruits and vegetables. Use calcium. Feed them calcium so that they'll have good shell formation and grow their shells very fast. So feed them very well so they don't have stunted growth. I know what happens when they have stunted growth. Those people buying outside, they will not know that okay, it's actually stunted growth. They will think okay, this is like 6 months or 3 months. So the bigger your snails, the more money to fetch you in the market. That's why you must feed them very well, especially at that little stage where their shell is still very frail and soft. It grows quickly when you feed them properly. So
Exactly.
you have larger snail shells and then larger snail carcass when they are sold out. So now we have some wonderful comments. Mr. Raymond, I believe this your training, you have done so well, and a lot of people are really, really applauding. All right. So new song Geoffrey is saying, wow, I enjoyed this. But when do you expect to begin to sell your snail? So when do you expect to begin to sell your snail? I believe there's a question like that, but you can go over it again.
Okay, like I
Are you
said,
with
you can
me?
start selling from any timing. Selling,
All right.
yeah, you can start selling depending on you. Like I said initially, you can actually sell
Yes.
in 3 months. You can sell in 6 months. You can sell in 1 year. You can sell above
Wow.
a year. You can even sell a week old. It
Wow.
depends on the demand from your clients. You need to understand that in this business, it's not just now. Most persons come into this business not knowing the niche in the business. If
Okay.
you are
Okay.
here to feed consumer, you know what you are going in for. You know that you have to train until 8, 9 months, a year, so that they get to table.
Mhm.
If your target is to raise snails
Table
for other
side.
farmers, then you can sell at any timing. So you need to
Yeah,
know
nice.
what you are in for. That defines when you are selling.
All right, great. So it all depends on the market you are satisfying. If you are going to satisfy consumers, definitely you want to grow to table size so that they are big enough and then consumers can just buy and go and cook and eat. If you are selling to other slave farmers, they have to get to the point of lay where they are already laying eggs. Then you sell off. If you are going to sell, there are some people who just buy, baby snails and grow to table size and sell off. So you can sell to those people baby snails 1 week, 1 month, or 3 months, anytime. They just buy that for less, train it over a period of time, and then sell off when it matures. So it all depends on your business model. I think that answers your question. I think it was new song Geoffrey that answered that question. New song from Abuja. Thank you, I remember. So we have Dorothy Okpoli. Dorothy Okpoli is asking, please, I didn't get what you blended to get their feed. I only got the soya beans. Thank you for the training. So Dorothy is happy for the training, but the feed, you blended some things, soya beans, oyster shell, the pancake cake, those things you blended together. What are they? Maybe just mention the components again so Dorothy can get
Bone,
everything.
bone meal, granite cake. Okay, in the particular video, we have soya, we have
Yes.
maize. Now we have
Mm-hmm.
soya. The soya is fine, powdered. We have maize. The maize is not powdered. The maize is crushed. We have granite cake. The granite cake is not powdered. It's crushed. And then we have
Crushed.
bone meal. The bone meal is powdered. We have pistachio is powdered. Now,
So they
all of
actually
this,
fork.
this is not like to
Yes.
say this is all you need for formulated. You can add other ingredients. It depends on what you are going in for. What I have there is to energize my snails because they just came in and I wanted to lay immediately.
Oh, nice, nice. So the components vary, all right, depending on what you want to achieve with your snails. So whatever formula you're using, but right now you know the components, I believe. You know there is soya there, ground soya, there is oyster shell, there is the granite cake, and then there's one other component you mentioned. Maize, yeah, grounded maize. So those four components made up that feed,
Bone meal.
right? And
Bone
bone
meal.
meal, okay, you can use bone meal or oyster shell, I think, or both together. So thank you for that. All right, we have more people joining us. We
The
have
thing is, you can
Basirat.
actually use so many. You can use fish
So
meal.
there
You can,
even fish meal. Great, great. So all of this protein for proper growth, and then you want
you
to
can
make
use
sure that
fish
there
meal. You
is
can use
calcium.
offer. And
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, since this network is hanging, I'll just go on and introduce other
just
people who
know
are
what
just
you
joining
want.
us.
There must be protein.
Mr. Raymond, the network is really bad, but thank God you're able to answer most of our questions. All right, so we'll just go on and then see how far we can get with all the questions. So we have let's just introduce some of our people who are just joining us. But before I go there, please, if you are just joining us and you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please hit the red subscribe button and click on the bell icon. Click on all so that you receive all of our notifications whenever we go live. And this broadcast, I believe it has really helped you a lot. You found so much value in it. Recommend it to other people by sharing. Share on your WhatsApp status, on Facebook, on Twitter, on any platform where you belong, so that more people can get to see this opportunity. For trainings like this are very, very expensive and very rare to come by. So let's broadcast this so it gets to so many people. But don't forget to like it, like this video and share it. So right now, just go on and call those people who are just joining us now. We have Basirat Aderonke. Basirat Aderonke is joining us from Ibadan. Thank you so much, Basirat Aderonke. Thank you for joining this live broadcast. We are really happy to see you, Basirat, and I believe you enjoyed um, the training. So we have other people. We have Patrick Uke. Patrick Uke is okay. My name is Ekaite. Ekaite watching from the US, from the United States of America. We will have someone joining us. We have another person who joined us from the UK. This is mind blowing. Like we are all over the continent already. We are in so many continents already. Africa, United States. This is really, really mind blowing. So Patrick is asking, how much approximately will it cost to grow snails in a greenhouse? Mr. Raymond, you want to answer that? You mentioned there is a greenhouse system and then there is a pen. So how much on estimate can someone use to?
Well, basically, talking about the cost is it also has to deal with the size of your land.
Size,
A plot,
definitely.
an acre, 2 plots. But the truth is, the free range, the greenhouse
Are you there?
is always large. Look, building and stocking, 3 to 6 million, depending on the size.
3 to 6 million. Exactly. So it depends on your size of your greenhouse. You're going to get the material, build the greenhouse to a standard. It's going to cost you between 3 million to 6 million naira to set up. And this is a very, very long-term project because using good material, you can get up, your material can stay up to 10, 15, 25 years in use, which is, within that period, you can recoup your investment. Very wonderful. So we have another question. I believe you got the answer. Uh, Ekaite from the US. I believe that question is from you. Thank you. Thank you for that question. So we have another person here. Kelechi Wako. He said, very funny. And they eat up their shells. Okay, I think Kelechi Wako is reacting to his question. So he said something about, I think this has to do with the eggs, the eggs hatching. Yeah, where they hatch and then they eat up their eggshell. Yes,
Most,
so that's just like it. It's quite
most
funny.
times, even
It's life.
most times when if you don't allow your babies to eat up their own, it's also affect their growth. That's why you don't help them to come out of their shell, to feed on the shell before they come out. It boosts the growth because the caviar itself has all the nutrients they need to start off life. And in this way, like we practice, definitely all your eggs will not hatch. You might have 2 out of 10 not hashing, 1 out of 10 not hashing. Don't throw them away. Grind them, add them to your baby feed. It becomes a very rich calcium for them to also grow. Those are some of the tricks
All
to
right.
just get for free.
So it's just like where a mother needs to breastfeed the baby. That initial breastfeed is very important. Same thing with the eggshell. That eggshell is important for the snails. It helps in their growth. So even those ones that did not hatch, drop the eggshell there. The other ones will feed on it. Very rich in calcium. All right, there's a question. You're talking about calcium. We have a question relating to calcium. Ikem John joined from Enugu. Let me stop guessing their location. I think Ikem John said, how do you introduce calcium to your snails? How do you introduce calcium to your snails?
Now,
This thing,
if you are using the formulated feed, the calcium has to be part of what you are mixing up. And if you are
mixing up. Yep.
if you are giving the fruits, as in vegetables, you can
Yes.
either sprinkle the calcium on the vegetables. You can also put the calcium in a different plate entirely. So either way to get access to calcium. Now you need to always put calcium. It's a daily routine. It's not like
So just like water, calcium needs to be available all the time.
you give
All
them
right.
calcium
So
today, you don't give them tomorrow. It's the daily routine as they are feeding.
wow, the network. Okay, we are back. All right, so you got that correct. Calcium, you crush your calcium, mix it to their feed. If you're giving them formulated feed, very interesting, very necessary. All right, and then if you are feeding them fruit, make sure you include calcium as a supplement, as a side dish. You have your fruit on this one dish, and then you have calcium on this, crushed calcium on this other dish. So they crowd over, they eat from both ends, and then just like soup and eba, for our Nigerians, they understand these things. All right. So make sure you have calcium every day, just like you supply them water every day. So make it a point of duty to always supply them calcium. It's good for their shell formation. If not, you start experiencing cannibalism. There's something called cannibalism in snails. He mentioned it where snail has a broken shell. If you don't remove them, they'll start feeding on it, thinking it's a source of calcium. So that's how you need to provide them a source of calcium. If not, they'll feed on themselves and begin to see open holes in your shell, on the shell of your snails. So I have another question here from Folashade. Folashade is asking, what type of calcium do we give snails? Is it the normal calcium? You want to answer that? Is it the normal calcium?
Just mention that. Actually, I don't know which you mean by normal calcium actually. For snail farming, we have the cuttlefish bone, we have the oyster shell, we have the
Great. Eggshells. Uh, wow. I think the network, we lost him there. We lost him there. So there are different types of eggshell. All right. We have you can get from the cotton. You have from cotton. You can get from oyster shells. Oyster shells are rich in calcium, very rich in calcium. We have eggshell. You can always use your eggshell. Very rich in calcium. Remember, he said something about boiling the eggshell, and then some people boil the eggshell before crushing. Some people just dry, but the essence is wash them and dry them properly before crushing them. So we've really come a long way, and then all the questions have been answered. So if you have any other questions, do well to contact Raw Vision Farms. Remember, the contact details is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. His phone number is +234 813 8789 858. I repeat again, +234 813 8789 858. That's his contact details. You can always reach out to him on WhatsApp or call his phone number, and you have a chat with him. You can also send an email to him at rovisionfarms@gmail.com. He's going to attend to you and answer all of your questions. So we've really come a long way, and we've come to the end of this broadcast. Please share this broadcast with as many people as possible. Share this broadcast. That's the way we help ourselves. We help others by growing. Just the same way you have received free value, make sure this message gets to a whole lot of people. So I want to use this time out now to say thank you, Mr. Raymond. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all you did. Like, this is a well packaged training, super expensive training, super detailed, everything practical. Like, I can go and start my farm with this information if I can go through this and listen attentively. So the same thing with every one of you. Most of the questions you are asking here, they have already been answered in the training session. So take a pen, take your book, record each step and go through it. But you can always reach out to him as usual, Mr. Raymond. Always contact him, and he'll be there to guide you through your training series. I don't know if you have any last words for our viewers before we call it a day, Mr. Raymond.
What can I say? Thank you for being there. If you are not there, then the value is useless. So we say thank you for the opportunity. The all thanks go to you for the vision. It takes
Thank you
a
very
man
much.
with a big heart to actually put such a project for free.
Thank
We
you.
have to
Thank
put
you.
this seriously. So many persons will not be able to meet up for the classes. You've done so marvelously well. And I'm so
Thank you.
happy that you see me worthy to be part of the persons that you called upon to be part of the trainers. God bless you. I appreciate your
Thank you.
time. And to every viewer,
Thank you
one
very
love.
much. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Raymond. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you. And thank you for your time. Without you, this training wouldn't have, I don't know, we will not have this kind of training. It's only you that can give us this kind of value, because everybody is different. So for you to have, taken this opportunity to give, I'm just short of word. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping the African farmer. So to you, my viewers, thank you very much for joining us to the end. This is a whopping 2 hours and 25 minutes video. Like, it's been mind-blowing, back-to-back questions and answer, practical sessions. Everything about snail farming has been taught in this video. So if you have any questions, I'll urge you to go back to the video, watch it from beginning to the end, because I'm very sure that answers have been provided in the practical session. So just go over it again, watch it over and over and over again until you get the details of it. But if you want it the quick way, you can always reach out to Raw Vision Farms. The contact is scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You can always reach out to them. If you're around Delta State, you can always visit his farm at number 25 Osajeri Estate in Uheli, Delta State. So you can always visit him there. So That's for those people who want to engage in training. You can also contact him for consultancy. And if you need quality stocks, you saw those very beautiful snails that he showed us in his video presentation. You want some quality stocks like that one, rich healthy stocks that as you're bringing them in, they're already laying eggs for you. Those kind of one, you understand that the money comes in very fast, so you can always contact him. Raw Vision Farms, his contact is on the screen. Don't forget, always contact him. He's going to guide you through. And remember what I said, you can always join his training. His training is available for you. 3 days training on site. It takes you through every step in the snail farming section. So we have more sessions coming up. Please be a part of this by subscribing to this channel. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss every other part of this training that will be coming up in the future. And don't forget to share and share on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on Instagram, anywhere you want to share. Take clips from this video, share it everywhere. Make sure you reach everybody. Tell your families to come and watch this. Tell your friends to watch this, because a lot of value is right here in this video. So till I come your way another time with another trainer and another practical session like this, that's bye from me.